Susan, go ahead.
Dave, what are you seeing from your hitters here recently, but particularly in this series, and most especially with runners in scoring position?
Yeah, it feels like we're able to kind of put little mini rallies together, but we're not quite getting, kind of the big hit that turns into a big inning for us. It's a big key to our success and part of the reason we're kind of up and down right now. What I will say is the silver lining about not hitting with runners in scoring position, it's a small silver lining, tends to change pretty quickly. You get one big hit in one big moment, and it tends to be fairly contagious. And we've seen that from our group throughout the season. But right now, we're not getting it done in the biggest moments as we put these little mini rallies together. And against a team like the Dodgers, but frankly, against any team, to win Major League Baseball games, you gotta drive in runs and you gotta have big innings. And we're not doing that right now.
And what did they tell you there with the balk with Quintana? Was that one of those declaring he was going to the windup thing?
Yeah, he has to declare that he's going to the windup, and most of the time, you get a heads up. Like, he's got to declare if he's going to be in a windup, and the pitcher gets a reminder. In this particular case, a few things got moving quickly prior to that play, and my beef was that we would have liked a heads up and a warning. And this is a great crew. It's a hardworking crew, a fair crew, and I think they certainly wanted to be able to give us a heads up. They just didn't, and I think for that reason, and Quintana is obviously kind of starting pitcher, probably not used to having to remember that on his own. And it's one of those things where I think the umpire crew wanted to remind and kind of give Quintana a heads up, didn't do it. And that was frustrating for us on the field because it's really what's done, but also there's no obligation on their part to do so. So like I said, this is a well-intentioned crew. They mentioned as much that they always want to help out when they can.
And Quintana only threw 12 pitches. Is he potentially in the mix for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason that we got a few guys out of there after pitching well, just so they'd be available tomorrow. We've got a pretty well-stocked bullpen for tomorrow. Many of the pitchers that you saw today will be up and available for us. Brebbia falls into that category. Littell falls into that category. Jay Jackson could pitch for us tomorrow. Berger looked great. He can pitch for us tomorrow if necessary. And then we've got, we were able to not use Rogers, McGee, Leon, Watson. So we've got a lot of options to get through tomorrow's game, and it is going to be another bullpen game, so we need them.
Great, thanks.
Alex.
Yeah, just in general, how did you think the bullpen game went? A lot of guys did pitch well, but obviously started pretty rough.
Yeah, it was a rough start. What I'll say is, you can get through those middle innings and still be very much in the game. How we scratched a couple more runs off Urias, I would say that we would have been going to, particularly there in the later innings, if we were in a tie game, we would have gone to the guys that, have kind of carried us all year. I thought in general it went fine, but we just didn't make enough pitches. The other thing I'd say is you can't walk Dodgers hitters. It's always going to come back to bite you. And we've just got to be better about getting and staying in the zone. Because I think we out hit them today, and they walked more and got more big hits. And, you'd almost rather have the latter in this particular case.
And then for tomorrow, are you ready to name a starter yet?
Not yet, no.
Justice.
Hey, Gabe, Buster had the 3 hits tonight. It was his first multi-hit game in a couple of weeks. Just what were you kind of seeing out of his approach of the plate tonight that is kind of different out compared to the recent slump that he's kind of been in?
In the air, line drives to the right side for Buster. When he's not at his best, he's hitting ground balls to the left side. So a lot of it is just staying on the ball, staying inside and through the baseball. He does that naturally. He's one of the better hitters in the game at using the whole field and going line to line. He was just in a little bit of a rut. Ground balls to the left side. Part of that is about timing and rhythm and seeing the ball. Part of it's about how his body's feeling. It's a good sign to see him. I mean, he did everything very well today. And behind the plate, he looked great. He was good on the bases, making good decisions, and swung the bat very well.
That's all we have. Thanks,
Okay,
Gabe.
thanks.
Hey, Buster. So Gabe was just asked kind of about what's going on with the team from the plate with the runners in scoring position. He said it feels like you guys have had some mini rallies, but haven't been able to get the big hit. Is that something you've noticed, or what do you think is going on there?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I mean, that's baseball is going to happen from time to time.
And he said, that's something that kind of disappears quickly. In your experience, I mean, what can you say about getting out of a rut like that as a team?
Hey, you just show up and play. I mean, it's really as simple as that. You show up and work before the game and go out and show up.
Susan.
Buster, what would you describe the kind of work you've been doing offensively here the past couple of days, trying to get your rhythm back?
Just simplify. Just try to. I think anytime you get a little out of whack, for me, the best thing to do is just really try to simplify.
You obviously caught 11 innings last night. You were on the bases a lot, on the bases again a lot tonight. That obviously didn't seem to impact you at all from an offensive standpoint. Is there, I don't know, any sort of plus to having a lot of action and a lot of activity maybe when you are trying to wind up simplifying things and rather maybe not overthink things?
I don't know if it really matters one way or another. I think you try to separate all that stuff and compartmentalize, hitting and your defense, and not let all of that, mesh together.
Great, thank you.
Gary.
Buster, in these bullpen games, the relievers have generally done a pretty good job outside of the first inning. Is there anything that you're seeing when relievers are thrown into that kind of a different role than they're accustomed to opening a game that, could lead to some struggles there?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I mean, it's obviously different than what they're used to, but I mean, that'd be a question they would have to answer.
Got it. Thank you.
Alex.
Yeah, just going off that, what is the challenge for you in trying to get through some of these games? It does seem like there's going to be a few of them over the next couple of weeks where you do have 7-8 different guys, and potentially one or two of them just, maybe don't have their command that night.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like you mentioned, you're banking on 6, 7, 8, 9 guys to be on that night. So it definitely presents challenges. But again, you go out and you show up and play and put your best foot forward.
Back to Susan.
Buster, Gabe was mentioning that usually one of the umpires will remind a pitcher with a runner at third that they need to declare if they're going to go into the windup. Is that kind of usually the case? Are you a little surprised that the ball got called there?
Yeah, I think in the past that's kind of how I've seen it a lot. But I mean, ultimately, it's on the players. We've got to know the rule there. I mean, it's on all of us for not reminding him, and Quintana, I'm sure, wishes he could. I'm sure he knew that rule as well, I'm sure.
Great, thank you.
That's all we have. Thank you, Buster.